Live from the City of Angels here. It's Sunday morning. You know what that means. Breaking box office, and we are celebrating a billion-dollar film again. This time, are you surprised? Again, from Disney. We have Deadpool Wolverine in weekend number 3 doing $1 billion worldwide. Straight to the email key headlines here this morning as we have another runaway smash hit. We called this when we saw this film back, before it opened that Monday, the week of Deadpool Wolverine debut. And I'm telling you guys, I knew audiences would absolutely crush on this film. And it's exactly what has happened. 3 weeks is all it took. 3 weekends, right? And 2 full weeks. And you're looking at $1 billion plus for this film. The 31st film from Walt Disney and the 11th title in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, including 2 for Sony, to reach the milestone. With Inside Out 2 and Deadpool Wolverine, Disney now has 2 of the top 2 movies of the year, right? Number 1 and number 2, both back-to-back $1 billion hits. Don't forget, they also have Mufasa coming. Some people said Moana, too, and I understand why that film will do well. Obviously, the first one did almost $700 million, but the reason you throw out Mufasa is, remember, 2019, the, quote, live-action remake of that made $1.6 billion plus worldwide. So that's a guaranteed $1 billion film. Moana could get there, but if you're going to pick one of the two, you're betting the money on Mufasa there. So you're looking at least $3 billion films. Moana would make it 4. Disney's back. Listen, you talk about all the anti-woke channels out there. And listen, I have my issues with Disney. Trust me. But at the same time, you have to recognize the fact that they are in the middle of some scorching heat because they are doing very well with both these films. And they both are very strong. Listen, Inside Out 2 is not as good as number 1, but Deadpool and Wolverine is exactly what that film should be. I had a ball with that film. I imagine a lot of you did, although some people said, remember, the worst film ever made. Okay, well, guess what? It just made $1 billion in less than 3 weeks. Globally, after 3 weekends, we're looking at 1.029 million/billion on that. That is 494.3 domestic, 532.2 international. By the way, number 1 film here in the U.S. this weekend. That's 3 weekends in a row there. Also, the number 1 non-local movie in most markets, including France, Germany, Italy, Spain, Australia, China, Korea, and Mexico. The third weekend saw Deadpool Wolverine post an impressive estimated 112 million with good holds. That's across the board, global 112. It's the second highest R-rated release of all time globally, having just surpassed Oppenheimer. As you see that going, these are all these milestones. There's just so many of them here in this email because obviously this thing is playing like gangbusters, as we told you would happen. So just watch MMT. And by the way, we're going to prove that we are dead on all the time again in a moment with Borderlands. Just give me a second. Let me get through this email, and then we're going to go to Borderlands, one of the biggest bombs ever. The second highest global MPA release of 2024 behind Inside Out 2. So Disney's like, that's fine. We'll take number 2 because we have number 1. Remains the number 1 movie, third consecutive weekend here stateside. The number 6 MC release of all time, having passed Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, and Age of Ultron. The highest grossing R-rated movie of all time. The second highest domestic release of 2024 behind Inside Out 2. These are all domestic things, international. Third highest R-rated release all time internationally. Second highest international MPA release of 2024 to date. Strongholds in the major markets of Germany, Japan, Australia, Brazil, France, and Spain. All of those sub 50%. Germany only off 31%. Japan 37%. Guys, this is what happens, right? This is what we are celebrating here today, because even if you don't like this film, and listen, I'm going to tell you, you're wrong. Okay, you're 100% wrong on that. But that said, it is something that you need to celebrate in that theaters need product. We need runaway smash hits to support the marketplace. We have another one that came in and outperformed this weekend, and it ends with us. That's up in a moment, but I want to get to Borderlands next because this is truly one of the biggest bombs in the history of Hollywood. When you look at the budget of this film, which was $120 million. Remember, that does not include the production, the P&A, the prints and advertising, which is all of the publicity for the film. They say at least $30 million there. $150 million on this film. It debuted with $8.8 million. Let's go back to Thursday night and listen to yours truly call this film ahead of time, like we do all the time. Guys, just we're good. We're fucking good. Here, listen. It's not very good. Guys, you ready for my number? It's terrible. You guys ready for a bad number? What if this happens? What if what I'm about to show you is the actual number for this film? $8.7 million for I was off by 100,000. I apologize for not exactly nailing the number, but again, guys, this is why we are the gold standard when it comes to box office, when it comes to evaluations. Nobody's better than MMT. But guys, listen, I'm telling you, when you look at this film, this is, again, 120 million, 30 million in publicity. You're looking at 150. You're talking about a 2.5x to get to break even level. So you're looking at somewhere around $400 million to break even. Lionsgate can do no right aside from John Wick and Hunger Games and possibly Saw. They are in trouble. And I'll tell you, if I were to come in and first of all, the first thing that's happening tomorrow over in Santa Monica at Lionsgate, I walk in and I'm firing everybody who said, let's make this film. Everybody's gone. The fact that people still have jobs after greenlighting Borderlands. I don't care if you have a track record that is exceptional over the years. If you just greenlit a $120 million film that debuted with $8.8 million, you're out of a job. And it's amazing to me that people still hang on to their jobs after something like this. This isn't just a debacle. Guys, if I cost a company hundreds of millions of dollars, do you think I'd expect to show up on Monday and have a job? I'll help you with that. The answer is no. So what are we doing? Hollywood is just absolutely dumbfounding at times when you look at the decisions made and how people continue to hang on to jobs and make films like this. And the film's not good. Go back and watch the reaction stream for Borderlands. You think about Kate Blanchett, totally miscast, not having any fun in this movie. This film deserves to go down as hard as it did. And Eli Roth, at this point, we need to put him on ice. He doesn't need to make another film anytime soon. I had to sit through Thanksgiving and now Borderlands. This guy needs a timeout for any number of years. I mean, years is fine from me. It's not going to be months. It's going to be 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 years. Let's go to It Ends With Us, which is a film I like. Go back to my reaction stream on that if you want. It's available for you on YouTube. Let's get the latest on the numbers here. It Ends With Us, $50 million. We called that about 50. And so there you go. We're dead on. Again, we figured it would be about there because you look at the crowds that were in there on that Wednesday night, early access, and then the Thursday crowds. And this is obviously a very female-heavy demo film. Duh. But look at what it did. 50 million. And the thing that's really positive about this, you're not just talking about this debut, you're talking about a studio in Sony that has allowed films to come in and sit in theatrical exclusivity for a lengthy period of time, and then you end up with Where the Crawdads Sing, or even more to the case, what was it called? Anyone But You. Look at that film, $150 million plus worldwide. Did it get to 200? It was insane. And it opened low, but they left it in theaters and allowed it to build. Crawdads did the same thing. They're going to do this. Sony doesn't have a streaming service. They don't have Peacock, right? They don't have HBO Max or whatever the hell it's called now. They don't have that. They don't have Paramount Plus. So Sony has its theatrical division, and they sell some things to Netflix, obviously. Who doesn't? But Right now, this film is really looking good at a $50 million debut. You've got an A- cinema score, which points to that complicated ending. The reason I like this film is because it's not buttoned up, right? It doesn't everyone ride off into the sunset with that wonderful ending that everybody goes home and says, wow, that makes me feel great. This has definitely more of, if not a downer ending, just a very unexpected ending. And that's what I love about the film. A- cinema score, 4.5 post track. Remember, Deadpool Wolverine had a 5, which we never see. So it tells you how much people love that film. Who was right, Weber? Look at the multiple for where the crawdad's saying 5.2x. Let me explain that to you guys. So when you look at a film at a debut of 50 million, if this were to do a 5.2x, we'd be looking at $250 million plus the 0.2 and the 5. What is that? 260, 270, whatever that number is, 275. Help me out. I don't have the calculator in front of me, but a 5 multiple would be 250 million. So that's what we're talking about when we talk about a multiple. Typical multiple is 2 to 3. So anytime you're looking at a 5, you're looking at something in crawdads that really did well over the long haul because they left it in theaters. It was counter programming. What, 2 years ago now? Sony again, they know how to do this. So this is very, very encouraging for the marketplace in this film. And I recommend it. Go see this film. Even if you don't, you're like, it's a chick flick. It's better than Borderlands. Okay. It's better than Trap. It's better than a lot of things in the marketplace. So go check this film out. Despicable Me 4 is now at $800 million worldwide. Sneakily, right? Stealthily, it went up. And now we're at $800 million straight to the Universal box office email. Added $18.8 million this weekend for a cum of $477.1 million. This is only international. That means that is above Rise of Gru and Despicable Me 4 at the same point, excluding China. And then you look at this film again, $807 million. It's not going to get to $1 billion, but I think that Universal is going to be okay with $800 million. Why would you not? That is very strong, and this is why we continue to get these films, because it just makes sense to continue to make a film that's going to end up making a massive profit for Universal again. Plus, you remember all the theme parks, everything they have tied in, all of the merchandise, all the plushies, the Minions, that's all cash for them. Quickly, let's check in on Trap. This is the international email from Warner Brothers. You're looking at $10.1 million internationally for this. The international cube's now at 16.6. The total running worldwide is 45.2. So not terrible. Remember that M. Night produced this film with his own cash, brought it to Warner Brothers. Of course, they spent money to promote it. I don't have the exact financials of how the whole thing broke down, but it's not totally on Warner Brothers here. So M. Night, unfortunately, the film's not great, right? Man, I was having a conversation with somebody that I really trust, and they were like, man, I saw Trap. I said, why? Why'd you do that? Why didn't you just listen to my reaction stream and realize it's not very good? You're right. I'm like, I know I'm right, man. That's all I do. I just nail these things. If I say it's good, it's likely you're going to like it. If it's bad, there's a good chance you're going to think it's terrible. So you got to understand, I know what I'm doing here. This film's not great, but it's at 45.2, not the worst. What I want to point to is when you look at Twisters, and I think we've talked about this over the past several weeks. We go to the Twisters International and look at this again. It has $310 million worldwide, but only 87.8 of that is from international. So that's the problem, right? You're really looking in these cases for a 1-to-1 or close to that ratio. Clearly, you would love to have it be 1 to 1.5, international. So you're looking at, let's say if it opens at 50, the international's at 55 or 60 or at least 50. In this case, that's not what's happening. What's happening is we're getting this big domestic and we're getting a very weak international. If this had the domestic, we'd be well over 450, maybe pushing 500 million right now, or at least let's call it 450. That's quite a bit of cash that this film's missing, and because it really is the Americana play on this film. Remember, you go back to, look at all the country music transitions in this film. Oh my God, every single scene. Here's another country music act. Yeehaw! Let's ride around in our Ford F-150. And the film's, again, not a great film. But when you look at the 1996 Twisters, you're talking about a film that was novelty in that CGI was still kind of a new thing, right? They were perfecting it. It looked good for the time. And now we've done this thing. We've done how many end of the world films, giant weather disaster films. And when you look at this, it kind of just falls into that mindset for the viewer. And then you talk about a film that really is about Americana, and that doesn't play well in Belgium, right? Just doesn't play as well. Let's go top 10 box office here on this Sunday morning. We are back tonight, and we will be discussing some trailers. We'll be looking at some general news from the film world and not too much D23. I mean, I'll watch a trailer or two from Disney, but ultimately it's weird. Whenever I watch D23, I say, look at the cultists. Doesn't it feel like a cult when you watch the D23 stuff? You're like, look at all these people. They're all dressed up in Disney stuff. It's very culty. Okay. Watch out. Whoever's going to get canceled for saying that. So what? Like, I'm afraid. What's Disney not going to do? Invite me to them? They don't invite me to make movies how it is. So who cares? At this point, it makes it easier for me to savage things. I don't have to worry about, are you going to invite me to your next movie? Oh, no, I can only see it on Thursday versus Monday or Tuesday. My life is over. Deadpool Wolverine's number one at $54.2 million. Number two, it ends with us, $50 million. The per screen average on that was 13.8, 13,800, and you're looking at the biggest location average of the weekend. With it ends with us. We go to number three, Twisters at 15 million stateside right now. That number is at 222. Again, like we said, 222 here and only 80 overseas. Borderlands, $8.8 million. One of the biggest bombs you'll ever see. Lionsgate, you got to fire multiple people tomorrow. Not one, not two. If you're not laying off minimum 5 people tomorrow based on the decision to make Borderlands, then this is why you are forever going to be the 10th studio in Hollywood. I mean, nobody even considers Lionsgate a studio. It's like Lionsgate, they're over where, and they're in Santa Monica somewhere, right? I mean, I know where they are. I'm saying, but the average, where are they? That's right. Yeah. No, I don't. What's a film by them? Shit. They have John Wick, I think. Oh, yeah. Hunger Games. No, nothing else. Have they ever had an awards film? I was talking with someone about that last night. I don't remember the last Lionsgate awards film. I know they had one, but not recently. They need to turn and pivot. They need to turn into like an A24 Neon. And listen, I'm available for your services. They're never going to hire me because, remember, I'm outspoken and I'm a white guy. That's not going to work. Not in this town. Those are two bad things. You're outspoken and you're white. Well, we can't have that. You don't fit into the culture. Okay, right. But I know what I'm talking about. Well, no, but it doesn't matter. We're trying to fill quotas here, for fuck's sake. Do you understand that? No, I don't understand that. It makes no sense to me. Oh, well then, okay. Well then, yeah. Despicable Me 4 is at $8 million. If you're watching this, this is what you get on Sunday night even more intensely, typically. Today, I'm just kind of rambling because I think it's fun, but I think it's fair. Everything I say is 100% accurate because that's what we do. So there you go. That's your top 5, Despicable Me. And then let's go top 10. We'll continue since I have the email in front of me. Number 6 was Trap with 6.7, down only 56%. I know that's not, listen, at least it's not down 65%. 56 is not good, but it's also not 65. Inside Out 2, number 7, up to $636 million stateside alone, $1.5 billion worldwide. Harold and the Purple Crayon. I never saw it. Did anybody see Harold and the Purple Crayon? I don't know why you did, because this film has only made less than $13 million in is it 3 weekends or is it the second weekend? I feel like it's been out for like forever. Nobody wants to see Zach Levi and his fake purple crayon drawing helicopters as they fly around hardware stores. This is terrible. Cuckoo was a bomb. Guys, I forgot to mention Cuckoo. Let's talk about that quickly. Cuckoo is no long legs. Cuckoo's not a great film. Again, I love Singer. You go back and look at Luz, his first film, L-U-Z. Check that film out. That film's cool. It's like 70 minutes long. Hello. Yay. Anything like that, I'm in on. But it's weird. It's cool. It's pretty focused. This film has a lot going on. Island of Dr. Moreau shit. It doesn't really work. It's definitely not scary. And it only made $3 million this weekend. That's only $2,000 per screen. Bad outing for Neon. Conversely, Longlegs is number 10 at $71.2 million. Here in the States alone, I don't even know what the worldwide on that is. I'll have to check that. Maybe we'll check it tonight. But either way, that is Neon's biggest domestic film ever, beating Parasite. And it looks like it's going to be the worldwide. Parasite's so high in the world number, so it might not get there. but the stateside number alone is pushing into the world. That's how big, if that makes sense, right? The stateside number is strong enough to contend with the worldwide total of neon films. That's how big that film's been here in the States, so they can absorb cuckoo and just say, we'll live with that. We can live with, thank you, Kusma. You see, because it's Sunday morning, I didn't go fully off. I said, I'm going to pause. I'm not going to totally lose my shit. I'm going to try to do that more, because when I watch, listen, I'm not going to lie. When I watch some of the streams like Weber, you just went a little too hard. You went literally ballistic, which of course we do a lot. I'm going to try to rein that in just a little bit. I'm not saying I'm going to succeed by any means, but I also want a little bit of love here this morning. Why did I pick Leones Negros today? Because look what we have. We've got the red, we've got the yellow, we got the black. We have the Deadpool hitting $1 billion worldwide, and we are celebrating that here on Breaking Box Office. We are back tonight with a wide open show. We'll watch some trailers. So I'm going to need super chats, because I'm going to get demonetized for that, because we can't watch trailers. They'll say that it's a copyright. Too bad. We're going to do it. Also, we'll talk about other stories in the news. We'll talk about that whole thing with Blake Lively and the director of It Ends With Us. What's my take on that? Also, Joaquin Phoenix walking out of the film, Todd Haynes' film. Here's my quick thought on that, and we'll talk about it tonight. The reason he walked out, he rewatched the film over my shoulder May, December, and said, hell no, I'm not getting involved with that. That's bad, Todd Haynes. We are not anyone who says that May, December is a great film, remember, your time is over in the evaluation space once that is uttered. We are back tonight live from the City of Angels. Thanks for being here for Breaking Box Office. See you tonight back on MMT.